I am so excited for the next part. Me too. Everybody, this is Charlie. Say hello, Charlie. Hello. And we are going to introduce someone that is a big inspiration to us. He is the one, the only, Paul Zerdin.
Thank you very much indeed. Hello, good evening. Welcome along to my show. My name is Paul Zerdin. How many of you here tonight are ready to enter the land of make-believe?
Yeah, let's get one thing straight here, right? If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't talk.
Yeah, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't eat.
Here we go. I'll start, you follow. Why can't you just come out and say something nice to him?
You're not the ugliest man in the world.
Thank you.
But if he dies... Where do I come from?
Okay, I'm going to tell you. Okay, right, okay, sorry about this. Okay, right. Sometimes, yeah, when a man and woman meet, they fall in love.
What's love?
Well, yeah, good question. Well, it's when your heart beats really fast and you feel lightheaded.
Like when you take drugs?
No. I'm fed up trying to point out to you that it is you that's doing the voice, you are deaf, and it is you that's talking to a stupid doll that's not real.
The night is young, the skies are clear, so if you wanna go walking deep,
It's
delightful,
It's
delicious,
It's
lovely. Never speak of the dead unless you have something good to say about them. My wife is dead.
Good. Are you okay? Don't touch me. I'm sorry, but you're okay? Yes, I'm fine. Yes, I'm fine. And you're okay? Yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. Oh, is that because you think it's clever?
No, I want the chance to stick my hand up your ass, see how you like it. In a nice sharp suit, you think you're James Bond.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. You think you're bloody Daniel Craig.
I had a dream the other night.
Wasn't that dream where you thought you were James Bond, was it?
and Paul.
And now it gives us great pleasure, seriously great pleasure, to welcome to this show superstar ventriloquist, one of the funniest men on the planet, and somebody I'm very proud to call a friend. Here he is, Mr. Paul Zerdin. Hi, Paul.
Hello, Jamie. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. We were just talking yesterday, actually, so I don't want to go over any old ground, but I know what you are doing at home there at the moment. You seem to be really busy right now.
Well, I'm just trying to make the best of this kind of lockdown situation. It's just me and the puppets, self-isolating, filming lots of video messages for people on Cameo, and writing new material, and doing an enormous amount of shopping for my mum and dad. There's only two of them, and it's like they've got some sort of family of six hiding in the attic, because I've never seen them get through so much food.
Paul, because you're on the show, and I know that this is primarily like a magic themed show, and some people might say ventriloquist, but a lot of the viewers won't know that you are a member of the Magic Circle and started off as a magician. That's right, isn't it?
That is correct. Yes, that was my first love. I think from about the age of sort of 7 or 8. I loved magic, and then I got the magic set for Christmas and all of that. And then when I left school with no GCSEs, I became a professional magician. I worked at a magic shop called Davenport's, which most magicians will know.
Sadly closed now.
A couple of years, just closed. Yeah, which is very sad.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like the oldest magic shop in the world, I think.
I know.
So
my shelves here, Paul, are like a homage to Davenport's. When I was a kid, I went, to Davenport's and all the little shelves with the lights in, with the tricks in. I miss that place.
Yeah. No, it was
I have more money though. It wasn't a cheap place.
It was a proper magic shop, though. It had something,
was.
and going in there as a kid and then going back there later to work there was a great experience. And I met lots of people there. I remember meeting Wayne Dobson there, Paul Daniels, all these people, David Berglass. And so made a lot of contacts, and it was a great learning place. And then I was playing around with puppets at the same time, and then wanted to get an agent, and the agent said, I've got loads of magicians at the time, what have you got that's different? So I said, well, I'm interested in learning ventriloquism, and she said, come back when you've got an act. And that's kind of how I became a ventriloquist.
Oh, that's great. What was your big break with Vent? Because I know that you've done a lot of big TV over years and years.
I did a show. It's like I just do talent shows. I go from talent show to talent show. I I did the Big Talent Show on ITV with Jonathan Ross in 1996, and so that kind of helped, kick my career up the butt in the UK. And then from that, I went on to loads of shows like the Royal Variety and Royal Gala shows and all sorts of Christmas specials and that sort of thing. And then America's Got Talent, like 20. Was it 96, 92? Yeah, about near 20 years later, I then won America's Got Talent. Then I did America's Got Talent, the Champions, then Britain's Got Talent, the Champions. So I just go from talent show to talent show now.
You won the Big Talent Show, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you this because obviously you won Big Talent Show at a time when there was less channels, and that must have been, in some ways, bigger or certainly equal exposure at the time to America's Got Talent. So I was going to ask you, which was actually better for you? Was it the Big Talent Show, which now nobody would remember, or was it America's Got Talent?
Well, America's Got Talent has a massive reach, and as you know, the Got Talent thing is global. At the time, Big Talent Show, there were only a few channels, and so that helped my career enormously. That got me my own summer season in Blackpool. For Amanda Thompson at the Paradise Room next door to or above Mystique and the Horseshoe, and then got me summer season after summer season, and then that helped my career at the time. It was unbelievably helpful. And then America's Got Talent, like 20 years later, kind of really kicked it up the arse, and in a different country, a different market, completely different, much bigger market. And as you know, the American market is enormous, and AGT, that show gets shown as well as all the other countries, or lots of other countries having their own versions of it. AGT gets shown all around the world, so on the back of that you can then go and do gigs all over the world. So it really opened some doors for me.
So as a direct result of that show, you ended up going and headlining your own theatre in Las Vegas. Did you enjoy Vegas? How was that?
So I went and did 3 nights at Planet Hollywood, which was part of the prize. And then on the back of that, the producers at Caesars Entertainment said this guy should have his own show, and then I got my own show. And so having your own show in Vegas, it was a bit of a moment, really. I found for the first probably 2 months, they were the hardest audience I've ever encountered. I've worked all over the world. I've worked with American audiences on cruise ships for a long time, and the AGT audiences were fantastic. But the Vegas audience is such a mishmash of people from all over the world, all over America, but all over the world as well. So sometimes you'd have people coming in that had seen you on the AGT TV show. Then you had people that were just drunk and stumbled in by accident. Then you had people that had lost their entire life savings on a game of blackjack and were drowning their sorrows. And then you had people that were given comps by the hotel. So you had a load of people that didn't necessarily want to be there, didn't know who you were. And then there were a load of people that were your fans. So it was the weirdest audience demographic. And it took me 2 months to get the hang of the audience. And when I did, I used to get a standing ovation most nights, but it took weeks to get to that point. So it was an amazingly difficult, steep learning curve. And I'd be on FaceTime and Skype with my writer friends back home in London, saying that gag's not working. That gag's always worked. Well, it's not working now. They're not getting it. So we had to change the delivery and rewrite every day. So it was really hard work. But once I got the hang of it, I kind of relaxed.
Yeah, I've heard it's a very different mishmash, and every time I've worked that direction, I've found it's a very unusual how everybody comes from, you say, so many different places and so many different reasons for being there that they don't really gel as an audience that have just kind of bought a theatre ticket and have just come out for the night. So yeah, there is an art to it, and it's great that you cracked it. And you still tour across the US, don't you? You still work over there quite a bit.
Yeah, when I finished the Vegas show, I came back home to do pantomime in Plymouth. As you do, and which was already part of my contract, and it was just such a funny kind of couple of years, really, from doing Radio City and then going to Vegas, and then I came home to Plymouth to do panto. I did panto in Plymouth that Christmas, and then the following year did my Vegas show, and then at the end of that year came home to do pantomime at the Palladium. So it was a bit of a crazy time, but I like to go. I found Vegas somewhere that it wasn't somewhere I wanted to live for a long time. It was an amazing experience. now I live in Wimbledon, and I have a lovely little cottage. But that's the one time I couldn't wait to leave Vegas when I'd finished, because I missed home and I found it just so hot. It was just so hot. You know, you're in the bloody Mojave Desert.
It's the most bizarre heat because it's so dry as well that you're just baking, but you don't sweat. It's the strangest thing, you know, if you've never been to Vegas.
Oh, it really is. So I was happy to go home, but I really enjoyed the show once I'd cracked it. But this is the one time now in the lockdown in a cottage in Wimbledon where I actually wish I was back in my massive, great big house in Vegas with a swimming pool and a cinema.
Yeah. No, seriously. And, of course, I was just in your theatre recently when we were still allowed to travel and when theatre was still a thing. I went to see Chris Angel's new show in that venue, and I never got to see your show in Vegas, which I regret. But it was a great venue as well you had there. Big old venue. Was it like 1,500 seats or something?
Yeah, it's about 1,500, yeah. And I actually was I was wanting to go this summer to go and see Chris Angel's show because I wanted to see what they'd done with my old room.
You won't recognise the room, honestly. What they've done with it is extraordinary. The production values are off the charts.
Really?
But, hey, we've been talking for a little while, and I know that we haven't run anything yet. So you've got a DVD that is also available as download, isn't it, Paul? Is it mouthing off?
Yes, it's called Paul Zerdin All Mouth, and it's from my live tour, my UK live tour from 2 years ago. This came out just before Christmas, and you can download it or buy or rent it on iTunes and Google Play and various other platforms.
On the iTunes store, and Paul has very kindly allowed us to play a little clip of that right now. So we're going to take a look for those of you who haven't. I can't believe anybody that's watching this show right now hasn't seen you, Paul. But for right now, we're going to run a little clip. Here's Paul live.
What is your name, sir? Malcolm. Welcome. What do you do for a living, Malcolm? You are retired. Malcolm is retired. Malcolm is living the dream. Malcolm is still very ugly.
Oi!
He thinks he's watching some kind of weird nothing show.
It's time to play the music.
It's time to light the lights.
Oh, the credit, thank you. Yay!
Kissy.
Jedi Master.
Good impressions.
Well, I know them all, don't I?
You know the Muppets?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Yes.
How is this possible?
We get together every year at a big old puppet party.
A what?
A puppet party.
Okay.
That's a puppet party.
I think we've got the message.
You're going to earn your money tonight.
So what happens at the
Puppet party?
Took the words right out of my mouth.
All the famous puppets
Yeah.
get... We had one the other night. Oh, my God, it was messy. Oh, my God, it was so messy.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone was there.
Really?
Teletubbies were there.
Teletubbies?
You should have seen it. Lana was gaga, Ditsy was titsy, Toad to throw, and Tinky Winky was absolutely faced.
Somebody like yourself that's done as much, I'm sure there's a lot of younger performers that watch this show and people that are always looking for some kind of advice. But I have to ask you, with all the things you've achieved, you're always a very ambitious guy. What is next for you? Taking away the lockdown, I've asked a few people this question. Take that out of the equation. It's all going to end and you can go right back to work. What do you still want to do?
I'm one of these people that will probably never be happy because there's always something that I haven't done or that I want to do. I just did a pilot I did a short pilot for ITV for a street show.
I saw it.
And I see there's so many street magic shows now which pop up on Netflix and all that kind of thing, and there's never really been a event version of it. And I've come up with having learnt from the ITV pilot that I've done. I know where I went wrong and what works and what doesn't work now. And I started doing pranks and things on Instagram while I was on tour in America, actually. And there was one, I had a couple of nights off, funnily enough, in Chicago. And so I'm in this hotel and my tour manager is out because he's got some friends who he knows in Chicago. And so I'm in this room. It's a nice big room in this hotel in Chicago. And I think I know what I'll do. I'll order room service for me and a puppet. and I'll rig up my phone, and so I put my iPhone just on the bookshelf. I pressed record. I lined up the shot. I knew where I had to be. I knew where the room service guy had to stand to make sure that he was going to be in the shot. And then I looked down the spy hole, and I could see the guy coming with the room service trolley. Knock on the door. He comes in, and I answer the door with the puppet, and it was my old man character. And I wanted to see if he'd just talk to the puppet, you know. And so he comes in and he puts the plates down, and Albert's going, you know, this is Albert. I've got Albert here actually. And now, so I got Albert, and let's put him on. Here we are. That's it. So Albert's. What's going on? We're talking to Jamie. We're on iMagic Live.
Oh, hello, Jamie. Yeah, who are you?
And so basically, I wanted to see if Albert would talk. If he would talk to Albert, and he was like, you know, you were talking, weren't you?
Yes, I didn't order that. What? I didn't want that.
No, but you said you wanted the Caesar salad.
No, I wanted the moussaka.
Musaka. Anyway, so we had this silly conversation, and the guy is actually talking to the puppet and sleep. And we had and then at the end of it, I told him that we were filming for my Instagram channel, and I said, can I have your permission to put that up? And he said absolutely, he loved it, and it was such a good sport about it. He must have just thought I was completely nuts. So I started doing all that and putting more of that sort of stuff on my YouTube channel. And so I've literally, in the lockdown over the last few weeks, I've been working with a producer friend of mine in California who's locked down in LA, and he wants to pitch this to one of the American networks. So I've just been re-editing it as well. So I've spent a lot of time being quite creative. And so a TV show in America and a TV show back home here in the UK, that's my plan, and then keep on touring. Not much to ask, is it?
It's not too much to ask. Tommy, see if you can find that clip online. If you can, I'll try and run it at the end of this interview. I'm sure I saw it on your It's on your YouTube channel, isn't it, Paul?
It's on YouTube and the Instagram, yeah.
Yeah, Tommy, have a search around, see if you can find it. If you can, we'll try and play it in at the end. Paul, I've got a couple of quick questions because we're going to run out of time here. Let's just fire through these last few questions.
Yeah,
do them with quick answers. It's not like a fast fire round. I'll get through all of them. What's your favourite pantomime? You've done so many.
Cinderella at the London Palladium.
Fantastic. How heavy is your flight case now?
I've got a new stand now for my table, my puppet stand, and it's a camera stand and not a bloody great big mic stand, which makes it weigh another 10 kilos. So the Pelly case, I've dispensed with the Pelly case when I'm travelling, when I'm flying. Touring, because it gets lost every time, because I'll be checking in. You know all these stories, but I'll be checking in and literally it's a direct flight. Let's say Lisbon, okay, 2-hour flight to Lisbon, and they'll say, yeah, put your case over there on that trolley. I'll put it on the trolley, and the guy says, okay, this is going to, where's your ticket? Oh yeah, you're going to Lisbon, that's it, great. Okay, and I say to him, this is definitely going to be on that flight to Lisbon, isn't it? He goes, absolutely, sir, absolutely. I get to Lisbon and it's not on the flight. There's no connection for it to go wrong, it just didn't get there. I mean, it's just, so every time they treat that case as something weird, something special. So I just think, right, shove all the puppets in a suitcase. I literally just squish them in, and that way it seems to work.
So does this mean you've had to get a thinner tabletop now, and you're no longer using a railway sleeper as the top of the table?
No, that's still here. I've still got that. The laptop is balanced on that as we speak.
Yeah.
But we need to speak about this later.
Yeah, okay. What's your favourite drink?
Vodka martini with a twist. Very dry.
Very nice. Can you catch food when it's thrown at you?
No, but I do remember what ship were we on when we were playing that in one of the that beautiful restaurant?
That's why I asked you the question.
I can't.
It's Zumi on the Independence of the Seas. I have got a video clip of it. I won't play it.
You can if you want. I don't mind.
No,
I hope you do. And I have to say, Jamie, I've loved watching this show, and I think it's a brilliant idea, and I hope it goes from strength to strength.
Oh, it's been so much fun, you know. I mean, obviously, we said before we're not making any money out of it, but that's not the reason we're doing it. We're doing it just to be creative and put some content out there, and also, if nothing else, I get to talk to my friends, so it's a lot of fun. But Paul, thanks for taking the time out of your busy day.
It's my absolute pleasure. I'm here all week.
Joking aside, I know you are busy, so I do thank you for doing it. And thanks, I'm sure the viewers will say likewise. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge cyber round of applause for Mr. Paul Zerdin. Thanks, Paul.
Pleasure.
On the table, you
On
got
the
it.
table would be just perfect. Thank you very much.
Alright.
That's terrific. So,
Second copy is yours if you like.
oh, that's great. Thank you very much.
There you
Can we
go.
just put him down? He's
Oh,
a bit.
for sure.
He's tired. If you just can stand over here.
You got
There we
it.
go. That's great. Thank you.
Hello, what's your name?
Joe.
This is Joe.
What?
Joe.
You have to speak up, I'm dead deaf.
My name is Joe.
It's Joe.
Joe. And what do you do?
I do room service, I work in the restaurant, and I work in the
Come
lobby.
here, get close, I can't hear you.
I work in the restaurant, room service, and lobby.
Oh, that's wonderful. What have you got for us tonight?
Oh, let me show you. So we got a salmon with asparagus,
I can't hear you. Come a bit closer.
a
will you?
meat board, and salmon with asparagus.
That's wonderful, thank you. And here's my salad here. Have you got my salad?
You didn't order salad.
No, I ordered salad.
No, you didn't order salad.
I ordered salad.
I didn't see a salad order.
No salad?
No.
But I'm on a diet.
The meat board is good for a diet. Here's a
Give us
salad.
a little.